Hello, everyone. I am so grateful for you to be here. We have a very special podcast for you today. We receive lots of questions and lots of comments, and I'm going to respond to you. In fact, the title is of this message is what Russia teaches us about socialists, because they are teaching us. If you pay attention, you will learn a lot about it. You don't have to go anymore into a socialist country to experience what life under socialists is. And I hope young people and people of all ages, they will take notes of this and they will realize what socialist is all about. I hate to be in a situation where one day I will say to you, I told you so. Take notice now. Value the freedom that we have in America. Acknowledge that you have been brainwashed and pay attention what the good and faithful Lord is doing to us. It's allowing us to see in front of our eyes and to acknowledge the truth about socialism. I know it's easier for me to see it because I was born, I lived, and I fought against socialists in socialist Romania under dictator Nicolae Ceausescu. By the grace of God, I am alive. God helped me to fight against the dictator. You'll find the entire story in my memoir, Saving My Assassin, to take the dictator to court and to expose him to the entire world. By the grace of God, I am alive, and he is dead for more than 30-something years. And I'm alive sharing and speaking with people about what socialist is all about, not only in America, but all over the world. Searching something, I discovered that Russia has been teaching us for a very, very long time. I want to share with you Nikita Khrushchev's words in his message to President John Kennedy a long time ago. He said, "Your children's children will live under communism. You Americans are so trustful. No, you won't accept communist all right, but we will keep feeding you small doses of socialism until you will finally wake up and find you already under communism. We will not have to fight you. We will so weaken your economy until you fall like overripe fruit into our hands. The democracy will cease to exist when you take away from those who are willing to work and give to those who do not." And those are his words. And remember that communists follows socialism. Well, many leaders of socialist communist country were not so upfront with that. I believe that Putin is worse than Nikita Khrushchev in the way of killing people, in the way of lying to us. But nevertheless, from time to time, he exposes himself. His actions speak louder than his words. He won the election. We know how. He wanted, and he said publicly that he wants to reestablish the Russian Empire, which means the communist. In order to win with Western civilization, he decided that he will allow some form of capitalism to be brought to to Russia. But if you do a good search, you will realize that his elite, the ones in his current government or the ones in his past government, the ones that prove themselves loyal to him, or the ones allowed to have a company and do business with the Western civilization. No one else. Everyone else is still under Putin's control. I hope you remember that during the Ukrainian invasion by Russians, some people, strong and courageous, went on the street and protested. We all know that all of them were jailed for many years, and many of them were killed. Not only them, but part of their own family had the same kind of situation, even though they were not in public. But that's the principle socialist and communist works and will work forever. No matter if you prove to be loyal or not to socialists, everybody in your family will be eradicated. That's the way the government works. We had in America people in college and universities, professors that never experienced socialists and communists, telling our young people that socialists will be a class where will be a society where no classes will exist. That is a lie. Socialist has classes, elite. The elites, the one that will be loyal to the dictator or the one who will be the leader of that socialist system that soon will become dictator, will have a life, will not need to work because they will take from others that are working, and they will supervise in details your life. They will control your life. They will spy on you, and they will live a life that not billionaire in America is able to live. Yes, and you will be as a puppet in a socialist system hands, and you will depend on the government. I hope you read my memoir again, Saving My Assassin, and you will find out. You can buy the book at virginiaprodanbooks.com/product/book. You will find that under socialist, you don't decide your profession, you don't decide the place where you live, and you don't decide where you're going to work. The government decides everything. The government decides how you work. You might ask yourself how it was possible that Brzezinski had the power to rebel against Putin. Because this leader of the so-called independent army was created by Putin. Brzezinski was is a very, very dangerous person, a criminal who will do whatever it takes for his power, money, or to please Putin. And also, when he got to the point that he was in charge and not respected, he was ready to speak up against the leader, even though he criticizes, or he says that he criticizes only the Department of Military. Anyway, he criticized and he took his army marching towards Moscow. And that is according to my point of view, I hope you agree. You don't have to agree. You can tell me why. But he is a creation of Putin. Putin wanted to have a military, independent military, full of criminals, full of people that will support his regime, no matter the cost. But at one point, when they were not supported, they were not provided, and most of all, what his ego of Projinsky did not was satisfied because he was not able to win the war in Ukraine. He started to speak the truth. The man who was a liar all his life finally spoke the truth. You heard him speaking that they don't have guns, that the moral is it's so low that it's time for the military leader in Kremlin to be changed and so forth. He had that power. Enough was enough. And he also had the power to take his independent army and to march to Moscow. We don't know the details, and I don't know if he was betrayed by someone in the inside of Kremlin, and they were too afraid to support him or whatever. But that's the way the history goes, and that's what it tells us, that socialists and communists has an elite, that the dictator does whatever he wants to do. And in fact, Putin proved that his first reaction is to call the military rebels and the Projinsky leadership as rebels, and he promised that they will be punished. He sounded like he was in charge, but only a few hours later, he decided that he will negotiate with. That was for the first time that I heard a communist leader, a dictator, saying, yes, I'm going to negotiate with the ones who rebel against me. The usual action is the minute that you speak against a dictator, you are in jail for the rest of your life or you are killed. No dictator will negotiate with you. For many, they prove that was weakness in his part. In fact, my colleague and author at Tyndale, Joel Rosenberg, said, make no mistake, Russia is in early hour of its first civil war since 1917. The battle for Moscow is about to begin, and Putin and his generals are desperately preparing to make what could be their last stand. Who exactly will control the Russian Federation and its nuclear arsenal a few days from now? It's anyone's guess. You have heard many other comments about what's going on, but what is most important is to realize that socialism works with lies, works with fears, and when the socialist establishes even people that are close to the dictator will be very well controlled and sometimes will give up, even if they have the courage to do something, and will hope that everything will be okay, someone else will take the turn. We have news and top generals like Armageddon disappear from the public, that others equal with him or under him, or also under arrest or put under special security forces supervision. The same things it's about other people that they believe that might have been participating. The worst things about is that in this situation, that's the way socialism works. You can be a very loyal person in this rank and still can be punished because you have no proof or your proof does not count in front of a dictator who is trying right now, Putin is trying right now to gain a power or to act to show the entire world that will take power. Talking about the elite of the society that will benefit from socialism, I want to share with you a story, on my personal story, not only things that you hear in the news or newspaper or podcast. I remember going back to Romania, and after 6 months or less than a year, or maybe so, after dictator collapsed and democracy was established in Romania. While I was there, I visited a small, what we call here in America, mom and pop store. And as I went inside, it was clean, it was nice, and it was only the owner. I assumed that it was the owner of the store. So I started to speak with him in Romanian, and he noticed right away my American accent. And I asked him when his life was better, during socialism or now. And he frankly looked at me and he said, I think that you live in America, yes? I said, yes. And he said, okay, I don't think that I'm going to see you again, so here is my answer. My life was better under socialism because I was a Securitate guy. And I was just supervising people, killing them, and putting documents to prove in their houses to prove that they need to be eliminated and so forth. Now I have a store and I have competitors in this town or even across the street, and I have to work very hard. One, I want you to notice that, yes, leaders like secret police had money and they were able to open a store even after socialism collapse. In other words, the influence of socialists will remain in the society for a very long time. The second one is that capitalism requires hard work, initiative, and many people that live an easy life as an elite under socialists will love to return to gain power and do nothing and take from others that are working. The other thing that I want to show you and to pay attention is when this leader, Projinsky, had the so-called rebellion with his troop against Putin, a lot of people on the way Russians came to give him and the troop food and water and so forth. There was nobody on the street to protest against them. It tells you a lot. One, it should tell you that people are fed up. They were happy to see that someone, even close to Putin, was ready to do whatever it takes to take him away. Imagine now when the image of those people are all over, what's going to happen with these people, what they will feel when this so-called praise leader, rebellious leader, turned back and decided not to go and to do what he was thinking to do, and what these people are thinking about. More than that, Putin is very revengeful. A dictator will not allow a leader, his army, or people on the street to rejoice that he is in trouble as a dictator, Putin, and as a leader, and these people will be cruelly punished. That's the way socialism works. In fact, many of them, when they were interviewed later on, they said they didn't know what to think. They were hopeful, but now they don't know what to think. Many of them, they want to leave Russia, but Putin wants to establish a rule or something. The news are everywhere that he wants to close the border, that people will not go anywhere and not tell anyone. You also have something else that you don't see in a socialist and communist country. After this Brzezinski and his Wagner group, or only by himself, got to be part of the negotiation with the leader, Belarus dictator, and of course with Putin's approval to go there. For all our surprise, he spoke back to Putin. Can you imagine that? This man will not be alive for a long time, or if he has support, he will do something else. In the history of communists and socialists, nobody talks back to a dictator like Putin. Nobody negotiates a dictator with him, offering him a place in Belarus or his army to have a contract with Russia or to go back home or whatever other initiative he had. It tells you a lot that after so many years, socialism by itself cannot exist. In the beginning, socialists will eat from what capitalists created for so many years. But after eating everything from the resources of capitalists, socialists will collapse. What form will be and what is going to happen in Russia, we don't know. I don't believe that it's important for us to predict that. It's important for us to watch and learn how horrible life it's going to be, not only spiritually, because they will take our right to worship God, they will take economically our wealth, our guns, our opportunities to build our own life. We will be a puppet in government's hands, and we will be at the mercy of a dictator. When you give too much power to a person, you have a dictator in your hands. And I hope you hear me well. We as people are the ones supporting a government by speaking up or by being silent, which means agreeing with what the government is doing. So it is our responsibility to learn from the lessons Russia is teaching us on the front page of podcast, news, television, everything that you see today. That life in socialism is horrible. And when socialism takes power, will take generations to come to suffer under the power of socialists and communists, no matter the title or the name. Putin never changed. He is a communist. He will never change the regime, even though he will change the name of the regime or the nuances of he is a dictator, and that's what socialists create. Before you think about that socialist, it's a wonderful society where the government will take care of you, where life will be so wonderful, and you will just get rid of capitalists. Think twice. Freedom is precious. You have in America what others will dream about, will die about. Take control and protect freedom, and learn from what Russia is teaching us how horrible socialism is. And when you learn, put in practice. And practice means protect freedom, learn about freedom, and help and equip others to stand up and speak up for the truth and for freedom in America. I hope you take notes. If you agree with me, I would love to hear from you. If you don't agree with me, I would love to hear from you too, and why you don't agree. We love to read your comments. Until next time, our podcast is live every Wednesday and Saturday at 10 o'clock Central Time. You can watch it and hear on Podbean, Edify Podcast, Apple Podcast, and see it on YouTube. Until next time, watch and continue to watch what Russia is teaching us about socialism. Take notes, stand up, and learn about the beauty of this country and the freedom that this country offers. Do not settle for less. Do not be part of destruction of America or destruction of freedom, because your kids and your grandkids and generations to come will live under the horrors of socialists and communists. Until next time, God bless you, and we will talk later. Bye-bye.